The impeachment thing is a total hoax. The numbers have totally swung our way. They don't want to see impeachment, especially in the swing states. They've swung our way. I've never seen a swing like this because people realize it's a total hoax. We had a perfect conversation. It was only a conversation. Nothing came out of the conversation except good relationship with Ukraine. And the people see that it's just a continuation of this 3-year witch hunt. And I'm looking forward to seeing.
I'm now joined by David McEwen. He's a political science professor at Sonoma State University in Sonoma, California. Thanks a lot for taking the time today.
Thank you for having me.
So you just heard the president there, as we've heard him say several times over and over again. This is a witch hunt. This is a total hoax. It's been a 3-year witch hunt. What is your take on what we've seen over the past few weeks? And of course, there's leaks with regards to some new evidence here regarding those phone records with Ukraine, to where we are right now with the judicial hearing, the Judicial Committee going back to hearings on Monday.
Right. So if we kind of take a look at the last, say, 3 or 4 weeks, and particularly what's happened over the last 7 to 10 days, and look at that force more broadly, Democrats will vote to impeach the president in the House. They'll move those articles over to the Senate. It's likely to die there. There doesn't seem to be any support. But there are several things lurking in the background here. One is that the narrative over the last week, the debate of the law school professors about articles of impeachment and constitutional prerogatives and intention really didn't move the needle. That's important for independent voters or those swing districts. Democrats have several things bearing down on them. The new North American trade agreement, several things related to funding the government for December 20th, several things that head into, if you will, the new year, and then when the Democratic primaries and caucuses begin, for example, in Iowa and New Hampshire. So there are things on the calendar and within the caucus that affect not only members, but those moderate swing districts, districts that Democrats picked up in November 2018 that are lurking in the background. That pushes the timeline forward. The president can continue to push this narrative about the witch hunt because that goes not only to his base, but into those swing districts. Everything ceteris paribus, not much has changed over the last couple of weeks, and it looks heavily partisan, and that's divisive, reflecting the deep, deep polarization in the United States, something we haven't really seen since the Civil War.
No, and add now all of that, now add to that the possibility of Rudy Giuliani saying he may decide that he wants to participate in this. Could be opening up some dangerous territory for the Republicans.
That's right, because what you have really is kind of a set of bright, shiny things off to the sideline. You might think of those as distractions or counter narratives. That has been a signature one out of the playbook of the Trump White House. And certainly Rudy Giuliani has been an architect with that and talking about even going back to the Ukraine in the midst of all of this and talking about the possibility of testifying or providing testimony. All of that is a distraction. That draws some attention to what's going on, but not enough for the Democrats. Look, in 1973 with Nixon, in 1998 with Bill Clinton, there were records, tapes, audio, video, that combination which changed the dynamic. Democrats haven't seen that or shown that, and as a result, you have this deep partisan divide where everyone is kind of holding forth without the independents moving too far.
Yeah, it's certainly, the case is certainly not carrying enough water for the Democrats. We're clearly seeing it there, and there seems to be that struggle. What if we were to throw in John Bolton into the mix of all of this? We know he's got a book that's coming out. He's kind of teased the idea. I've got a lot to say here. We haven't heard it, but what if, just for argument's sake, we throw him into the mix?
Yeah, I mean, if Bolton were to testify, it would provide a different narrative that would be helpful for the Democrats. It would provide a potential smoking gun. That seems entirely unlikely. He's holding back on those components for his book. The question is whether his book will be timely or the moment will have passed. That works to the president's advantage. And look, with the economy adding a series of jobs, Democrats are looking in those swing states like Michigan, like Pennsylvania, like Ohio, and things are tough for them right now as they enter into the final stretch before voters start voting in Iowa and New Hampshire.
And of course, it's what those voters are looking at in terms of what's important to them. You mentioned jobs there, David. That'll certainly take precedent over what's going on with the impeachment inquiry. A lot to look forward to. David McEwen, political science professor at Sonoma State University. Great chatting with you, David. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.